good morning, everybody. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco. I am Vanessa Southern. I am the senior minister, honored to serve this congregation, and it is wonderful to have all of you with us this morning from wherever you are joining us. And whatever your morning has looked like, whether you're still in your fuzzy slippers and bathrobe, or you just came back from a run, or you've written a chapter of a novel, whatever your morning has been like, for making the time to be here together again to worship. It was lovely to hear Reiko Oda Lane play our prelude this morning. Canon in D seems such a perfect choice because, of course, I don't know about all of you, but it takes me right back to 100 weddings with the bride and the bridesmaids and the groomsmen coming and the families coming down the aisle. It's such a poignant memory in a year where weddings have been on Zoom or small and outdoors, and funerals have been on Zoom or are waiting until people can be together again, families can be together again. Just yesterday, I participated in a bat mitzvah that was happening in New York City, all of which is a reminder that today we stand just a couple days from the one-year anniversary of the shelter-in-place order that went out by Mayor Breed in this city, pulling all of us into a place that officially and originally was supposed to end on April 7th, but as we know, has taken us places we probably could not have imagined. And so poignant on this one-year anniversary to be reminded of all of that and take a step back, do a little bit of reflection in this year that has been so invitational for reflection of the biggest kind. So it's wonderful to be together. I want to thank the team who is here making worship possible, many of whom have been here this entire year. So thank you again to Reiko Oda Lane, our organist, as part of the incredible team of musicians who have had to pivot so much this last year. To Mark Sumner, also in our wing with our 4 semi-recording studios, adhering to all of the rules of the city so that we can have music and making it happen so beautifully all year. And Asher Davison and Ben Rudiak-Gould and Brielle Marina Neilson and Leandra Ramm, our 4 singers, bringing us their voices in song, inviting you to sing at home every week as they have. I want to thank our tech crew who has been so important this last year. To Jonathan Silk, who's had to juggle more than I think we could have imagined in the changing landscape of this year, and done so beautifully and with such grace, and never missed a Sunday. So you get the badge of perfect attendance, Jonathan. I don't know what that's going to look like, but we'll figure it out. And also to Eric Shackelford, who also has been here faithfully, and to Shuli Ong, who's been our other camera person, bringing you the images of this sanctuary that you haven't been able to be in person. To Joe Chapeau, who has monitored our chat and helped you all with your technical issues so that you can join, and also made possible the interaction that happens there. To Alex Darr, who jumped in almost immediately to start up a virtual coffee hour that actually has brought an intimacy and a connection that our coffee hour normally outdoors or in the Martin Luther King Jr. or Thomas Starr King room really often didn't allow for a lot of us, so it's been an interesting lesson for us there. To Thomas Brown, who's kept the building open today and made sure the heat was on, and Carrie Steere-Salazar, along with Judy Payne and Amy, have made possible the flowers each week. This week, Carrie brings us flowers in orange and green and white in honor of the flag of Ireland and St. Paddy's Day. So, blessings and welcome, and thanks to everybody who's making this Sunday possible and who's made Sundays possible this whole year. And so we're going to light our candle, ever more poignant since this is our second candle, the first one having been burned all the way down, a candle that we've lit symbolically each week for all of you who are not with us here in body, but with us here for sure in spirit. And we light it until we can be together in body again. So with that, we sing our first hymn of the morning. The words and the music are in your order of service. If you haven't downloaded it, hurry and do so. Sing out loud and strong a hymn that's about looking for all the things we have to be grateful for in the world. Let's join together. Welcome.
Please join me in our unison chalice lighting. The words are in your order of service. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time watching, thank you for joining us. Our order of service, which is available in the description of this video, is emailed to everybody who receives our newsletter. You can get our newsletter by signing up through a link to our connection form that's in the order of service and the video description. The order of service also lists upcoming events and links to opportunities to connect, including our Zoom coffee hour, which takes place after the service. Please join in anything that interests you. I want to call your attention especially to the Humanists and Non-Theists Forum at 1 p.m. today, where Peter Dreckmeyer, Policy Director of the Tuolumne River Trust, will be talking about our Northern California water supply and what each of us can do to help preserve our rivers. And lastly, as many of you know, it's currently pledge season at UUSF, where we ask each member of this community to pledge what they can for the coming year in order to make this community possible. As of this morning, we've raised $468,307 from 73 households. Any pledges made today will be submitted to a raffle to win a free 3-night stay at a cabin in Lake Tahoe, thanks to member Marty Vanderlyn. And now I wanted to welcome Wonder Dave, a member and young adult here at UUSF, to give our Canvas message.
Vanessa referred to this as the 1-year anniversary of Shelter in Place. I would like to say that I like to think of it as the 1-year anniversary of Tiger King, actually. That's what I like to go with, just a positive spin. Hello, everyone. My name is Wonder Dave. If you don't know me, I have been a member of this church for a couple of years now. I am not now, nor at any point in life would I be what someone would call a participator. By participator, I mean someone who enthusiastically joins groups. I am not the type of person who will volunteer to go on stage to assist the magician during a show. In my view, I paid for the seat, and I would simply like to sit there and be entertained. This is a lifelong attitude. As a teenager, my desire to participate was at an all-time low. I didn't much want to spend any time around my family, to the point where being grounded meant that I was not allowed to go to my room. But even as a child, I was pretty content playing by myself. I thought other kids were too loud, and social interaction came with too many rules about how to act. To be clear, I had friends, I engaged in group activities in school, but it never came naturally to me. I am still slow when it comes to joining. For instance, I started coming to UUSF for Sunday services in 2018, and I didn't officially become a member until 2020, so I really took my time to figure this out. When Joe Chapeau reached out to ask me if I would like to speak specifically about the value of being part of this community, my brain went, oh no. It wasn't a fear of public speaking. I am a stand-up comedian. In 2019, I was on stage a total of 324 times. I know that because I have a spreadsheet, which is the sign of a very fun person. Writing something and then saying the thing I wrote out loud into a microphone are something I have done a lot. But this is different because this involves the biggest F word of all, feelings and talking about them. When I came to Unitarian Universalism, I was depressed. My grandparents, whose home I had grown up in, died 9 days apart from one another, and I was not handling it well. I needed something, I knew, but wasn't quite sure what. I decided that perhaps just to be around people in a space that felt sort of sacred would be good. I knew a bit about Unitarian Universalism. There was no creed. There was the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, no hellfire or damnation, no dunking babies in water, although there is that thing over there. Not entirely sure what it's for. You can explain it to me later. I had a notion that UU was sort of the Platonic ideal of religion. People in a building on a Sunday doing charitable things and praying, probably. I honestly was not that sure what to expect. But all of that was appealing to me. It seemed like a low-pressure religious scenario without a lot of rules, something rule-averse and social-averse me would be capable of handling. I showed up on a Sunday, and while I don't remember the exact theme of the service, I do recall that Reverend Vanessa Rush Southern read an Anne Sexton poem. I have always loved poetry, and I knew after reading that poem I was going to come back. You cannot read an Anne Sexton poem to a person who is depressed without piquing their interest a little bit. I have continued to come back for over 2 years, in person, via live stream, and in podcast form. I have attended services, protested outside the building, been a part of Becoming Together, social events, and other small groups in the church where we explored the deeper meanings of faith and spirituality. I am continually impressed by the good works this church does in the community. I am thrilled to see the larger fellowship of UU work towards a more just and equitable society. And now, with all the subtlety of an NPR announcer, I would like to remind you that this is indeed pledge season for UUSF. Any amount you can give is helpful to the church. Turns out a middling stand-up comedian does not make a lot of money, so if you are able to give a small amount, say $5 a month to spare, that is certainly welcome. You should do that. No amount is too small or too large. If you can give $500 a month, I'd like to remind you that money can't buy happiness, but it can buy repairs on a very old historic building. It can fund religious education for the youth. It can help the church provide services for the homeless. Perhaps there has been a day when you needed something, and you came here to this church, to this live stream, and not knowing what you were looking for, you found it. That's something worth not only continuing, but nurturing and growing. Thank you, everyone.
And just a reminder that you too can be in that slideshow after you pledge. Just make sure to send us in a selfie, and we can make sure that you get into the next one of those. And now I want to invite everybody to join us in our meditation on breathing. If this is your first time, just listen and join in whenever you feel so moved.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
The word religion has its root in the word religiare, which means to bind together. And this is a community that is bound together not by a creed, but by the promises it makes, the promises that we make to one another. And so each week we say aloud some of the promises, those in our covenant, and then sing together our doxology. I invite you to join me in saying the words of our covenant printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another.